Most people recognize Barry White for his deep, soulful voice and classic love ballads with hits like "Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe" and "You're the First, the Last, My Everything." But his journey to fame was far from easy. White came from humble beginnings, making his way up the ladder through hard work in a tough industry. Behind the scenes, his life was marked by dramatic turns and family secrets. Recently, his son has come forward confirming long-standing rumors and revealing startling truths about his father's legacy. Before we delve into these revelations, let's first look back at some of the most iconic moments from his incredible journey to stardom, as well as the tragedy and hardship he had to overcome. Barry White's rough childhood. Barry White, born Barry Eugene Carter on September 12, 1944 in Galveston, Texas, grew up in a family situation that was anything but conventional. His parents, Melvin White and Sadie Marie Carter, were never married. As a result, Barry was given his mother's last name, but later chose to adopt his father's surname. Raised in the Watts neighborhood of South Central Los Angeles, Barry was the eldest of two children, with his younger brother Daryl just 13 months behind him. From an early age, Barry was immersed in music thanks to his mother's extensive collection of classical records. This exposure sparked his interest in music and inspired him to learn the piano as he began to play the melodies he heard on the records. By the age of 11, rumors started circulating that Barry had played piano on Jesse Belvin's 1956 hit single, "Good Night, My Love." However, Barry addressed these rumors in a 1995 interview with the Boston Herald, dismissing them as journalistic exaggeration. Despite the fact that White and Belvin were neighbors, the age gap made it improbable that they collaborated musically at that time. Barry White attended Jacob A. Riis High School, an all-boys academy located in southeast Los Angeles. During his teenage years, he experienced a dramatic transformation in his voice. Around the age of 13 or 14, his once high-pitched, youthful tone deepened into the rich, resonant baritone that would become his hallmark. This change was a significant moment for White and his mother. He recalled the day vividly. "It scared me and my mother when I spoke that morning. It was totally unexpected. My chest rattled with vibrations. My mother was staring at me, and I was staring at her. The next thing I knew, her straight face broke into a beautiful smile. Tears came down her face, and she said, 'My son's a man now.'" This moment marked the beginning of his journey toward becoming known for his distinctive, deep voice, which would later become one of his defining features in the music world. Despite this transition, Barry's adolescence was fraught with difficulties. According to his 1999 autobiography, Love Unlimited Insights on Life and Love, Barry grew up in a small home with his mother and siblings. During this time, he and his brother became entangled in local gangs, frequently getting into trouble and causing their mother considerable distress. In an interview with Rolling Stone, White reflected on his tumultuous youth, saying, "I'm an ex-gangbanger. I come from Southeast LA. I didn't only hear about the 1965 riot, I was in it. I understand the disappointment, the anger that people have. I had the same. My brother had the same until he died in 1983. A man shot him in his heart. He was my best friend and my life till he died. He was night and I was day." White described how his brother was as deeply immersed in the criminal world as Barry himself was in music. At just 16, he was incarcerated for 4 months for stealing $30,000 worth of Cadillac tires, an amount equivalent to approximately $310,000 today. It was during his time in jail that Barry encountered a pivotal moment of inspiration. While listening to Elvis Presley's "It's Now or Never" on the radio, he felt a profound shift in his perspective. This experience, he later reflected, was a crucial turning point that set him on a path toward a career in the music industry. Later in life, White chose to be open about his past, using his experiences to offer guidance to young people. "So I tell young people the truth, and a lot of them listen," he said. "They know I've been to jail. I've never hid my past, and I never will. I don't want no young person to think he's stuck in that misery." Another pivotal moment in Barry White's life occurred on his 18th birthday, which also happened to be the first day of his final year at school. Rather than attending his classes, Barry felt an irresistible pull toward Hollywood. He made the bold decision to skip school and walk to Capitol Records headquarters, where he spent hours standing across the street, mesmerized by the vibrant activity unfolding before him. The energy and excitement of the entertainment industry deeply captivated Barry, further fueling his aspiration to become a part of it. Despite his lack of formal training in reading or writing music, his determination to make his mark in Hollywood was unwavering. Barry White struggled to get noticed. Barry White's path to redemption from his tumultuous childhood was anything but straightforward. Recognizing the need for change, he resolved to leave behind his gang life and transform his future. In his autobiography, Love Unlimited Insights on Life and Love, White detailed his epiphany after spending time in jail. "After 2 months on the inside, it finally started kicking in," he wrote. "I have to change my ways because if I don't, I'm going to end up in jail the rest of my life." Aware of the difficulty ahead, White understood that breaking free from his old habits would be challenging, but he saw no other viable path. Shortly after his release from jail, he was presented with an unexpected opportunity, a chance to join a band as a bass singer. Until that moment in 1960, White had never seriously considered music as a viable career option. He viewed this offer as a crucial turning point in his life. Determined to seize this chance, White plunged into the music scene. However, transitioning to a career in music was far from easy. Despite his enthusiasm and initial forays into recording singles under his own name backed by groups such as the Atlantics and the Majestics, he struggled to achieve significant success. Undeterred by these challenges, White dedicated himself to mastering the music business. He immersed himself in the vibrant Los Angeles music scene, collaborating with various small independent labels. Through these experiences, he honed his craft, learned the intricacies of the industry, and gradually built a reputation that would eventually lead to his breakthrough. In 1965, Barry White made a notable mark in the music industry by producing Feel All Right for the Bel Cantos, an early indication of his growing influence. His debut single Man Ain't Nothing, released in 1966 under the pseudonym Lee Barry, highlighted his emerging talent and versatility. At this point in his career, Barry was juggling multiple roles. He was a songwriter, session musician, and arranger, showcasing his diverse skill set. Barry's collaboration with Bob Keane of Deli Records during the mid-60s proved pivotal. As an A&R man for Keane's newly established Bronco Records, Barry worked with a variety of artists, including Viola Wills and the Bobby Fuller Four. His most significant early achievement came from discovering and mentoring singer Felice Taylor. Partnering with his friend Paul Pellyberry, co-wrote and arranged several hits for Taylor, including I Feel Love and Come On, which achieved notable success in the UK. These early accomplishments were crucial in building Barry's reputation in the music industry. His ability to craft chart-topping hits for other artists demonstrated his potential as a producer and arranger, and laid the groundwork for his future success. By 1969, Barry White's career was gaining significant momentum. He signed with Forward Records as a producer, continuing to expand his portfolio. That same year, he faced personal challenges, including the separation from his first wife, Mary, whom he had married at 19. Despite these difficulties, Barry's professional life was flourishing, setting the stage for a series of groundbreaking achievements in his career. Barry White finally achieved musical success in the 1970s. In the early 1970s, Barry White's career was poised for a major breakthrough. His big break arrived in 1972 when he discovered and produced a girl group named Love Unlimited. Modeled after the Supremes' Love Unlimited featured Barry's future wife, Glodian James, her sister Linda James, and their cousin Diane Taylor. The group had been training with Barry for 2 years before signing with Uni Records, thanks to a crucial introduction by Barry's friend Paul Pelly to businessman Larry Nunn. Larry Nunn played an instrumental role in Barry's rise by financing the production of Love Unlimited's debut album, From a Girl's Point of View, We Give to You Love Unlimited. In his autobiography Love Unlimited Insights on Life and Love One, White reflected on this fortuitous meeting with deep gratitude. "I couldn't believe it," White wrote. "Here I was without a dime to my name, with a group I couldn't afford to record, with nothing but my knowledge of music. And over there was Larry Nunez, a millionaire, offering me not just a way to make a decent living, but the opportunity to transform my musical life." This collaboration was a turning point for Barry, marking the beginning of a highly successful partnership. Barry took the helm as producer, writer, and arranger for the group, crafting their classic soul ballad, Walking in the Rain with the One I Love. The single was a tremendous success, climbing to number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100 pop chart, number 7 on the Cashbox Top 100, and number 6 on the Billboard R&B chart. It also reached number 14 on the UK singles chart, earning Barry his first million-selling single. The track's success was recognized with a gold disc from the RIAA in July 1972, firmly establishing Barry White's reputation as a major force in the music industry. With Nunez's support, White was able to release From a Girl's Point of View, We Give to You Love Unlimited. The album marked a significant milestone in his career. One of the standout tracks, Walking in the Rain with the One I Love, released in 1972, became his first major hit and catapulted him to fame. This period also saw the formation of the Love Unlimited Orchestra, further cementing his status in the music industry. The track Love's Theme from the orchestra became another notable success, showcasing Barry White's growing influence and establishing him as a key figure in the music world. Barry White's career had its ups and downs. Following his breakthrough success with Love Unlimited, Barry White experienced a significant shift in his professional landscape. When Russ Reagan, who had been instrumental in supporting Barry at Uni Records, transitioned to 20th Century Records, White faced a challenging turn. His relationship with Uni Records soured, prompting a strategic move to switch his production deal and Love Unlimited's contract to the new label. This transition proved pivotal for White, as it enabled him to maintain his momentum and continue crafting hits for Love Unlimited. In 1973, Love Unlimited released Under the Influence of Love Unlimited, an album that soared to number 3 on the Billboard Pop Albums chart. This achievement marked a historic moment, making Love Unlimited the first female group to break into the top 5 on the pop charts, since Diana Ross and the Supremes did so in 1970. One of the standout tracks from this album was It May Be Winter Outside, but in My Heart It's Spring. Originally penned by Barry White and Paul Politi for Felice Taylor in 1966, the song gained renewed attention and reached number 11 on the UK singles chart in early 1975. The group continued to build on their success in 1975 with their first and only number 1 hit on the best-selling soul singles chart, I Belong to You. This track also climbed to number 27 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was featured on their third album, In Heat. The album included a vocal version of Love's Theme, showcasing White's knack for blending lush orchestration with soulful melodies. Throughout the 1970s, Love Unlimited consistently produced successful tracks solidifying Barry White's rising fame and reinforcing his status as a leading force in the music industry. As Barry White's career continued to soar, he expanded his influence and creativity in the music industry. In 1973, he established the Love Unlimited Orchestra, a grand 40-piece ensemble initially formed to support the girl group Love Unlimited. However, Barry had ambitious plans for the orchestra beyond accompaniment. He released the instrumental track Love's Theme, which quickly soared to #1 on the Billboard pop charts. This success signaled the beginning of a highly productive era for both Barry and his orchestra. The Love Unlimited Orchestra went on to produce several acclaimed albums, with Rhapsody in White being one of the standout releases. This album featured the hit Satin Soul, along with other popular tracks such as Forever in Love and Midnight Groove. Despite ceasing album production in 1983, the orchestra continued to play a vital role as Barry's backing band, providing the lush orchestral sound that became a signature of his music. Barry White's solo career also took off in the 1970s. Initially, he was hesitant to step into the spotlight, preferring to focus on producing for other artists. However, after recording demos, his friend Larry Nunn persuaded him to release the tracks himself. This led to Barry's debut solo album, I've Got So Much to Give, released in 1973. The album featured hits like I'm Gonna Love You Just a Little More Baby, which topped the Billboard R&B charts and reached #3 on the pop charts. Barry's distinctive deep voice and romantic lyrics struck a chord with audiences, propelling him to fame. He followed up with a series of successful singles, including Never Never Gonna Give You Up and Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe. His unique voice, commanding presence, and charismatic performances earned him affectionate nicknames such as the Walrus of Love in the UK and Dr. Love in the US. Barry's international appeal was evident with multiple top 10 hits in the UK, including the chart-topping You're the First, the Last, My Everything in 1979. In pursuit of greater control over his music, Barry left 20th Century Records and launched his own label Unlimited Gold in partnership with CBS Columbia Records. This move marked a new chapter in his career, allowing him to further shape his musical legacy. In the 1980s, Barry White faced significant challenges as the disco era waned and his music struggled to maintain its previous success. Despite releasing several albums during this period, including The Message Is Love and Love Songs, only a few singles such as Change made a notable impact. The financial pressures of managing his label Unlimited Gold took a toll on Barry. As a result, he was forced to close the label in 1983 and shift his focus toward touring to sustain his career. In 1987, Barry signed with A&M Records, which marked a new chapter in his career. He released The Right Night and Barry White, featuring the single Show You Right, which achieved moderate success by reaching #17 on the R&B charts. He continued his comeback with the 1989 album The Man Is Back, which produced top 40 singles such as Super Lover and When Will I See You Again. The 1990s brought a resurgence in Barry White's popularity, fueled by a wave of nostalgia for the 1970s. A key moment in this revival came with his collaboration with Quincy Jones on the Secret Garden Sweet Seduction Suite in 1989, which rekindled interest in his music. Barry's 1991 album Put Me in Your Mix reached #8 on the Billboard R&B Albums chart, with the title track climbing to #2 on the R&B Singles chart. In 1994, Barry released The Icon Is Love, which marked a high point in his career, topping the Billboard R&B album charts. The album's lead single, Practice What You Preach, became Barry's first #1 on the R&B Singles chart in nearly 20 years. Despite receiving a Grammy nomination for Best R&B Album, the award went to TLC's Crazy Sexy Cool. Barry continued to collaborate with other artists during this period, further cementing his comeback. In 1990s, he worked with Tina Turner on In Your Wildest Dreams and contributed to the Space Jam soundtrack with Chris Rock on Basketball Jones, a remake of Cheech and Chong's 1973 hit. Barry White's final album, Staying Power, was released in 1999 and marked a significant moment in his career. The album's title track reached number 45 on the Billboard R&B charts, and its success earned Barry 2 Grammy Awards for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance and Best Traditional R&B Vocal Performance. In addition to his musical achievements, Barry White's autobiography Love Unlimited, co-written with Mark Elliott, was also published in 1999. The book offered fans an in-depth look into Barry's personal life and storied career. Barry White's career extended beyond music into acting and voiceover work. He voiced the character Brother Bear in Ralph Bakshi's film Coonskin and appeared in various commercials, including campaigns for Prodigy Good Seasons salad dressing and Oldsmobile. His distinctive voice also graced voiceover work for Arby's and Apple's first iBook commercial. Additionally, Barry made notable guest appearances on the TV series Ally McBeal, where his music was prominently featured in dream sequences. Barry White had a rocky love life. Despite being celebrated as the king of romance and crafting some of the most memorable love ballads in music history, Barry White's personal love life was marked by its share of challenges and disappointments. His 2 marriages both ended in divorce, reflecting a stark contrast to his on-stage persona. Barry's first marriage was to his childhood sweetheart, Mary. They wed when Barry was just 19, and their union produced 4 children. However, as the years passed, their relationship faced increasing strains. By 1969, the couple decided to separate, and their divorce was finalized in 1974. In 1974, Barry found love again with Glodian James, a member of the female group Love Unlimited. Their professional and personal chemistry was evident, leading to their marriage that same year. Their collaboration on hits like Walking in the Rain with the One I Love underscored their strong musical partnership. Despite being celebrated as the king of romance and crafting some of the most memorable love ballads in music history, Barry White's personal love life was marked by its share of challenges and disappointments. His 2 marriages both ended in divorce, reflecting a stark contrast to his onstage persona. Barry's first marriage was to his childhood sweetheart, Mary. They wed when Barry was just 19, and their union produced 4 children. However, as the years passed, their relationship faced increasing strains. By 1969, the couple decided to separate, and their divorce was finalized in 1974. In 1974, Barry found love again with Glodian James, a member of the female group Love Unlimited. Their professional and personal chemistry was evident, leading to their marriage that same year. Their collaboration on hits like Walking in the Rain with the One I Love underscored their strong musical partnership. Together, they released the 1981 album Barry and Glodian, highlighting their successful collaboration on and off stage. The couple had 4 children and seemed to be a perfect match both musically and personally. However, the pressures of the music industry and personal differences began to take their toll. By 1988, rumors of a separation began to circulate. Although they lived apart, they never officially divorced. Despite their estrangement, Glodian remained legally married to Barry until his death in 2003, managing his estate as the sole executor. In his later years, Barry was reportedly involved with Catherine Denton. Despite this relationship, his legal marital status with Glodian remained unchanged. In a 1995 interview with Rolling Stone, when asked about his love life, Barry White reflected with a sense of contentment, saying, "I'm relaxing, I'm enjoying my life, and I let things do what they do. I've already got one lady music." This comment underscored his focus on his career and his acceptance of his romantic life's complexities. Barry White suffered from major health issues. Despite his commanding stage presence and iconic voice, Barry White's health was a constant struggle throughout his later years. As he aged, the effects of his weight issues and other health complications became increasingly evident. His half-sister Sandra revealed in the docuseries Autopsy Barry White that Barry experienced severe difficulties during his final performances. She recounted seeing him barely able to stand during his last concert and nearly collapsing as he walked off stage. Despite these alarming signs, Barry was reluctant to seek medical help, often appearing exhausted and overwhelmed by his health problems. Barry White had long battled obesity, which exacerbated his health issues and contributed to his declining condition. By 2003, his health took a dramatic turn for the worse. He suffered a stroke that significantly impaired his speech and mobility. Alongside the stroke, he struggled with severe blood pressure problems and deteriorating kidneys, requiring dialysis and a potential kidney transplant. Unfortunately, his condition made him too unstable for the transplant surgery. In May 2003, Barry underwent surgery to place a catheter for dialysis, but his health continued to deteriorate. In his final weeks, he suffered multiple seizures, and his condition worsened steadily. Barry White passed away on July 4, 2003, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles due to cardiac arrest. He was 58 years old. Following his death, Barry's remains were cremated, and his ashes were scattered in the ocean off the California coast. A poignant tribute to a man who had profoundly touched the world with his music, Barry White left behind a painful legacy. Despite his tragic end, Barry White's legacy remains profound and impactful. His influence on soul and R&B music has been widely celebrated. On September 20, 2004, he was honored with an induction into the Dance Music Hall of Fame, recognizing his significant contributions to dance music. Later on September 12, 2013, what would have been his 69th birthday, Barry White was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in the recording category, solidifying his place in music history. Barry White's distinctive voice and lush orchestration have left an indelible mark on the music world. His voice, often described by the BBC as having the richness and smoothness of chocolate fudge cake, and his larger-than-life persona made him an unforgettable figure in music. In 2023, Rolling Stone ranked him number 56 on its list of the 200 greatest singers of all time, highlighting the timeless appeal of his music. His enduring impact was further recognized with his music receiving tributes, such as the restoration of his last car on the show Counting Cars. Throughout his career, Barry White was nominated for 11 Grammy Awards and won 2 for his work on Staying Power at the 42nd Annual Grammy Awards. Barry White's career defied conventional paths and expectations. Growing up as a juvenile delinquent in Watts, Los Angeles, White's initial musical experiences came from singing and playing piano in church. Despite possessing one of popular music's most distinctive baritones, he preferred to stay behind the scenes in his early years, working as a producer and A&R man. His early career was characterized by a willingness to take risks and a drive to push boundaries. A pivotal shift occurred when Barry transitioned from behind-the-scenes work to becoming a prominent star. His large frame and unique persona stood in contrast to the typically youthful and fit icons of the disco era. Embracing his distinctive identity, White became a highly sexualized icon, captivating audiences with his bold and unconventional presence. He epitomized the producer-turned-star archetype and exemplified urban music's opulent aspirations. White's arrangements often featured grandiose elements, such as elaborate orchestras reflecting his penchant for luxury and extravagance. His music set a new standard by blending lush orchestral arrangements with soulful vocals, creating a sound that was both intimate and expansive. Hits like "Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe" and "You're the First, the Last, My Everything" showcase his ability to evoke strong emotions and set a romantic mood. Barry White's influence extends beyond his music. His unique sound, marked by deep, resonant qualities and romantic allure, continues to be celebrated. His work has left a lasting legacy with his timeless classics, enjoyed by new generations of fans. Legal battles. In the later years of his life, Barry White was reportedly involved with Catherine Denton, though his legal marital status with Glaudian James remained unchanged. This situation added layers of complexity to Barry White's legacy, especially regarding his extensive family and the inheritance of his estate. Barry White had 9 children, 4 with his first wife Mary, 4 with Glaudian, and a daughter Denise Donnell, born in 1962 to Gertha Allen. Denise, who did not learn of her biological father's identity until 1988, was supported by Barry in changing her name to Denise White. She was acknowledged and treated as one of Barry's own, often using his homes and cars, and working for him. When Barry White passed away in 2003, his estate valued at $20 million was inherited by Glaudie and James as his legal wife. This left Catherine Denton, Barry's partner at the time of his death, without any claim to the inheritance. The situation led to significant legal disputes and family tensions over the estate. One major conflict arose when Darrell White, Barry's son with Mary, sued Glaudian in 2017. Darrell accused Glaudian of denying him his rightful share of the inheritance and mismanaging the estate. He claimed that despite Barry's intentions, he was left out of the inheritance and faced financial hardship, alleging that Glaudian had neglected his entitlements and left him close to homelessness. Darrell White was not the only family member to challenge Glaudian James over Barry White's estate. His half-sister Denise White filed a lawsuit against Glaudian in 2016. Denise alleged that Glaudian had discouraged her from claiming her inheritance rights, despite assurances that she would receive her share of Barry's estate. Denise claimed that the payments from the estate, which had been regular, became irregular before ceasing altogether around 2015, severely impacting her financial stability. She reported that checks from the White Family Trust suddenly stopped coming, and she was even excluded from family events, including Barry White's annual birthday party held on a rented yacht. Denise's legal complaint filed in Los Angeles County Superior Court detailed her claims. She argued that Glaudian had promised her a clear share of the estate, citing numerous checks from the White Family Trust that she had received over the past decade. Significant amounts included $100,000 in 2007 and $647,190 in 2008, with Denise receiving over $350,000 in total before the payments abruptly ceased. Denise sought an accounting of the estate's earnings and damages for the halted payments. The legal disputes extended beyond the immediate family. Catherine Denton, Barry's partner at the time of his death, also claimed she was owed money and personal items promised by Barry. Denton had given birth to a daughter just 4 weeks before Barry's death and asserted that the child was his. This claim was pivotal as it could have affected the estate's distribution. However, paternity tests later disproved Denton's claim, and she lost her court case. Additionally, Barry White's will, written 8 years before he met Denise, did not include her, further complicating the legal battles surrounding his estate. Barry White's legacy is as complex and layered as his music. From his meteoric rise in the disco era to the legal battles that followed, his passing His life was marked by both immense success and personal struggles. As the controversies surrounding his estate highlight, even the most celebrated icons face challenges beyond the spotlight. What do you think of the ongoing legal disputes among Barry White's family members? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth stories about legendary figures like Barry White. And don't forget to check out the next video on your screen. You're going to love it.